we continue with the remaining issues of Imposter Syndrome with issue 2. Team Starline head over to an Eggman base. Surge decides to do her own thing and heads to the tower, only to be stopped by a Super Badnik. But it's no match for the dynamic duo. Starline takes control of the new Eggman base. The two, however, question how they didn't die and wonder what their origins truly are. So it's time to do a little snooping through Starline's files. The duo find out why they're made, and even see that they were possibly kidnapped and were influenced by Starline's mind control to become who they are today. Starline catches them and tries to subdue the both of them, but they put him to sleep. Surge decides that she and Kit need to ultimately get rid of both Sonic, Eggman, and anyone who follows them once and for all. Kit decides that they should use Starline's plan to get rid of Sonic and Tails, and leave the doctors to themselves. So, the finale brings us to the trio storming Eggman's biggest fortress yet, taking out badniks left and right. Eggman gets alerted and sends in Metal Sonic, but clearly the 2v1 is too much for the Robo Doppelganger. Starline takes control of Eggman's badniks, and it looks like it's truly over for Eggman. Or is it? Imposter Syndrome is a great set of issues that explore Surge and Kit, along with Starline's ultimate goal of defeating the man he once idolized. There is some interesting character development with Surge and Kit, showcasing the insecurities that Surge has trying to live up as being better than Sonic, and the sibling-esque dynamic of her and Kit, along with the eventual turn of the duo against their creator. However, I can't say the same for Starline, who pushes these two with these constant training routines and hypes them up for this big confrontation between him and Eggman, only for that to never even happen at all in this miniseries, making the ending feel incomplete. While it had some great issues with the first 3 installments, Imposter Syndrome does drop the ball in the end. Okay, but we need to reel things back before we hit issue 50, so let's start with issue 48. The Chaotix investigate a case that leads them to some trouble downtown. Some old homeless guy says that it might have to do with something in the sewers, leading the Chaotix getting gassed. But what's this? They find a box that leads them to the central shipping yard. The Chaotix find Clutch along with Rough and Tumble, but apparently they had nothing to do with it. I wonder who did though. They leave not before sinking all Clutch's supplies down in the ocean. This soon leads us back with Sonic, Tails, and Belle reprogramming all of the badniks through the usage of a signal. However, in the middle of the night, the badniks get a little quirky and attack Sonic and Tails. They save Belle, who tells them that the badniks are heading to a secret function, and follow them to Eggman City. Belle also discovers a letter from Mr. Tinkerer to help give us a bit of closure on that subplot and express his love for his creation. She thinks that she hasn't made a difference, but she has over the course of the series. With a bit of encouragement from Sonic, the trio storm Eggman's base. But before we jump into the big battle, I know, but hold your suspense, ladies and gentlemen. We got 2 specials to take a look at. To promote his latest theatrical appearance, IDW, along with help from the movie team, created the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie prequel. 5 stories created by Kiel Fegley, and here to show us what the movie cast has been doing since the first adventure. Let's check him out. Hedgehog Day Afternoon stars Sonic on another adventure. He is literally the unemployed friend on a Tuesday afternoon, and finds out on the local news that a robbery is going on with some egg tech. Sonic pulls up, but the thieves get the upper hand and throw the homie into a comically large safe. But by using his super speed, he busts out the safe and stops the criminals. The story ends with one of the egg drones used in the robbery returning Eggman's glove to Agent Stone. The story continues with Agent Stone in The Secret of My Distress. Stone gets a job at a coffee shop and uses some egg tech to move up from employee to boss, taking out almost everyone in the business, and even getting the boss, Karen, arrested for money laundering. Gotta say, I love how chaotic and silly these first 2 stories are. They have some great action-packed moments, and Agent Stone's story was pretty funny, not gonna lie. Seeing him just manipulate his way into becoming the boss was pretty good. However, these next 3 stories take place in Movie Sonic's dimension, starting with Knuckles the Echidna traveling across the world and getting captured and being forced to fight against a giant lobster monster. It kinda just ends pretty quickly and there's not much else other than the lobster fight. 2 for the Road has Tails track down Sonic's chaos energy to meet up with him. It shows him venturing through various Sonic zones while also being chased by something. It's cool to see some of the zones make their way into the movieverse, and the mysterious lizard people are a neat touch, but it does feel kinda quick and too short for its liking. The last adventure stars Dr. Robotnik back on the Mushroom Planet, and he is getting high off those things. But the shrooms fight back, and so does he, bring the whole place up and promising to come back and cause mayhem on that hedgehog. Dr. Robotnik's adventure was hella fun, with him going crazy on mushrooms and even fighting back was entertaining to see. It was pretty short like the rest of these, but this was definitely my favorite out of the bunch. The Sonic 2 prequel is a collection of some fun stories. They do a great job at giving us a small sneak peek into the world of the Sonic movie universe, and do their job at hyping up the reader into seeing the new film. They were a bit too short, but they made up for being quite entertaining. Anyway, on to our next adventure, starring Team Sonic on the Floating Island. Free Comic Book Day 2022 gives us a new adventure, Deep Trouble, by Ian Flynn with art by Brad Curry. Knuckles calls up Sonic and Tails to help them investigate some strange rumbling on his island. Sonic and Tails have this stupid all-hell debate about how to pronounce Hydro City. Let me know in the comments how you pronounce it. They find Eggman, who's been drilling around for minerals. With the power of teamwork, Eggman runs away. I mean, what do you honestly want me to say? It's about as average as it gets. Sonic and Tails show up to help Knuckles, and Eggman goes down really easy. The art looks good for the most part, a bit loose for my liking, and that shot of Angel Island looks incredibly rushed. Overall, it's fine. Nothing more, nothing less. But now, it's finally time for the moment you've all been waiting for. Issue 50 finally gives us the big battle between Team Starline, Eggman, and Sonic. As Starline enjoys his brand new throne, Eggman finally pulls up to face Starline. Team Sonic finds Metal Sonic just chillin'. Sonic and Tails have been in an argument about the fact that it was Sonic's choice to reactivate him after the Battle for Angel Island arc. But before they can continue, everyone gets jumped by imposters and badniks. Surge finally gets to talk face to face with Sonic, pointing out the glaring flaws with his morality. If he had just taken Eggman out, she wouldn't have been made, so she's here to end that cycle. Except Sonic kinda just doesn't really care about what she's talking about. Bro hits her with the, okay, and they fight. Tails and Kit fight, but he tries to talk to Kit, asking what's wrong with him, even volunteering to help him out. But one mention of Sonic, and Kit goes berserk. Meanwhile, Sonic is doing the complete opposite, and dumbs down Surge's mental insanity as nothing more than a shtick, disregarding where she's coming from because he's supposedly been through this before. So he decides to give her the Declaration of Independence. To be honest, despite being long as hell, Sonic's statement here is perfectly fine. Too bad, not even Sonic follows his own ideals, as shown from earlier, treating this freedom ideology as nothing more than ultimatums. He even contradicts himself at the end of Surge's fight with this. Bro wants to give everyone freedom, but if they don't choose his way of freedom, they gotta go, even forcing them to choose his route, which by definition isn't freedom. In the middle of both of these conflicts, Starlight and Eggman have an epic mech battle, but Eggman is ultimately defeated with the power of Starline's Tricore. Too bad he's been one step ahead of him this entire time, using the Egg Emperor to force Starline to use his Tricore, wearing his goggles to block out the Thug Shaker mind control, and hitting him with the command grab. Bell and Metal pull up, she dips, and Starline gets killed by a bunch of metal pipes. What a way to go out for one of the IDW Sonic villains of all time. Tails times out Kit, and waits for his water supply to go out, and brings Little Bro with the rest of the gang. Eggman finally takes control of his base, and brings out every badnik imaginable against the trio. Overall, issue 50 is strange, to say the least. On one hand, it's a fantastic action-packed adventure, with 3 battles in one issue coming to an okay at best conclusion. Finally having the imposters face off against the OGs was fun. Kinda. In the same case as the fate of Dr. Eggman, its biggest problem is the unnecessary character assassination of Sonic T. Hedgehog. His sociopathic mindset really gets turned to 11. Tails and Kit get a great moment together, with him trying to talk and reason with them. Eggman and Starline gave us the big confrontation we've all been waiting for, and it was probably the best part of this entire comic. In conclusion, IDW Sonic's 50th issue is a great issue that suffers from driving its protagonist further into the ground and leaving the Imposter's adventure on an interesting cliffhanger. Sonic and the gang continue their escape through Eggman's one-to-one recreation of Baltimore, with Metal Sonic and a horde of badniks on their toes. Also, Starline's dead. Can we get a moment of silence for our homie? Just kidding, rip bozo! Smoking on that Starline pack, baby! Surge finds out that fall damage was turned off, so she survived. But if she's gonna go back outside, she's gonna need some powers. Belle uses her built-in Google Maps to find a shuttle to get the hell out of here. Sonic escapes with the homies, but then Metal Sonic recreates a terrorist attack, leaving the hero stranded in Baltimore. The squad does their best to escape Metal Sonic in the city. He just doesn't know when to quit. Meanwhile, Surge finds out that Starline is dead. Rip bozo! Smoking that Starline pack and raids through Eggman's stuff to find a Hellcat supercharger, and she goes a bit brazy with this. Metal gets sent home before he can go toe-to-toe with Sonic once again. Surge decides to go for a spin, but finds out that the supercharger gives her schizophrenia. This little imaginary Starline decides to taunt her, making her believe that she was better off dead. Sonic gets fixed up and tells Kit the bad news that Surge is dead, which, you know, it's kinda sad. They were like the best of friends too. Back up in Detroit, Surge is destroying everyone's subwoofers. Whisper pulls up with her wisp just in time for Surge to lose her powers. But then she realizes what she's wearing and gets high off of wisps. Whisper is down yet again, Sonic pulls up, and Surge's schizophrenia is still going crazy. But we have to pause on that adventure, as we have 3 more side stories to look at, starting with the 2022 Annual. The first story, Guardians by Flynn, gives us a glimpse into Blaze's world, in which she finally eliminates all of Captain Whisker's crew. With no more ops left to disturb her, she goes to Knuckles for help on what to do, since he's a Guardian. He drops some knowledge on her about stepping away from her responsibilities. Knuckles says for her to take this opportunity. The Soul Emeralds are safe and guarded, unlike him, who's stuck with the Master Emerald, and that means he barely gets a chance to hop off the island. Blaze takes his advice and begins her vacation by hanging out with the homies. This was great! I love seeing some great character building with Knuckles and Blaze. While they may have the same issue on the surface, one has a chance to be free, and the other is forever stuck with a giant green rock. Being able to see how they view their roles as Guardians was quite an enjoyable experience. In Weapons by newcomer Daniel Barnes, Omega finally gets rebuilt, so he and General go for a little test run. We get a little dive into the mindsets of these 2 robots. Omega seeing General as inferior due to his more domesticated lifestyle, while General sees his relationship with the rabbits as a way of evolving himself to be better. This is definitely on the same level as Guardians, in where we get to see a comparison between 2 characters that are a bit similar on the surface. Hero Camp by another newcomer, India Swift, delivers us our silly all hell adventure of the day, with Cream and other locals. Orbot and Cubot are the counselors and try capturing the kids. Too bad they suck at that, and the kids use what they learned throughout the story against them. What can I say? It's a pretty average adventure with Cream and friends. The next story is a sequel to Silver's Drug Emporium from the 2019 Annual, and the homie is sad yet again. Espio shows up to help the Hedgehog, who feels like he has no idea why he's even here. Espio helps Silver out with understanding his fear, and that he has friends that are always here to help him out when danger arrives. The resolution is a bit too quick for my liking, but other than that, Future Growth is a great issue that explores Silver's uncertainties with the future, and the reassuring factor that he has friends by his side at all time. While these stories have been great, we of course have one stinker in this annual. This time with a Jet the Hawk story by Ian Mulcher, best well known for writing The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. In this story, Jet just yaps for the entire adventure, being oblivious to being captured by a giant Eggman robot because he's mad that Whisper's Wisp stole his calzone. Our last adventure stars Mordecai and Rigby, written and illustrated by Aaron Hammerstrom. Rough and Tumble split and later team up with Rouge and Tangle to steal a diamond. Apparently, the homies were so desperate for a replacement for the other that they teamed up with these two. Rough and Tumble soon realized that they both kinda had the same plan of stealing the diamond. Tangle stops the two skunks, but Rouge leaves with the diamond, and our annual comes to a close. Overall, the annual was kinda more of the same, in which we had a great selection of adventures, both serious and unserious, with the exception of, yes, one story. This is definitely another hood classic in IDW's library of banger annuals. Daniel Barnes delivers us a spooky adventure with Sonic and Tails, as they crash land on a mysterious island full of badniks from yesteryear, and it looks like poor homeboy creased his shoes during the fall. After getting spooked by Mecha Sonic and some weird badnik amalgamations called Scrapnicks, Tails shows up to tell them that they're chill as hell. Tails starts geeking, and Mecha starts tweaking. Tails gets Google Translate working, and is able to communicate with the Scrapnicks. E-Sigma over here says that they gotta fix the plane. In the meantime, Mecha Sonic shows them a mysterious flower that washed on the shore. He hopes to plant it sometime soon. Sigma shows him around the egg carrier, while he tries his best to find a part for the tornado. Sonic gives another long all-hell speech, but this time it's just him admiring Mecha Sonic's due change in life and asks to be friends. But that gets interrupted by Mecha Knuckles, who is going insane due to his old Eggman programming. He hits Mecha so hard, he gets strange twisted memories of his old fight during Sonic 3, causing him to snap and go rogue. Sonic gets captured, and a nearby Scrapnick relays the bad news to Tails and the others. He builds a gun, and he and the others go mecha hunting. Too bad Mecha sneaks them, steals Tails' iPad, and takes them all out, leaving just him and Sonic. We end Scrapnick Island with Mecha attempting to put Sonic in him through literally downloading his mind. The Scrapnicks jump him, causing the mind transfer device to explode. However, Sonic has a bit of Mecha's mind in him. While Mecha thinks Sonic's reached his limit, Sonic proves him wrong as they race through a large factory. Sonic hits Mecha with a kick to the head, causing him to return back to normal. Mecha is about to sacrifice himself to the fires below, believing that he's failed both his old and new objectives. Sonic tells Mecha that he has to give himself purpose in life to breathe in this blue trap bubble. The Scrapnicks save the homies, and his programming gets tweaked so Eggman's former influence is no more. We end Scrapnick Island with Mecha thanking Sonic for showing him the light and hoping to face the uncertainties of life head on. Scrapnick Island is a fantastic story thanks to its incredible presentation and horror-esque themes, to deliver a story of Sonic helping one of his oldest enemies turn over a new leaf. This surprisingly emotional story was aided by its monster movie location and outstanding pencil work from Jack Lawrence, who has really nailed the look of Sonic and Friends since his debut. Nathalie Foundrain's colors also give this comic a really distinct look with a dark and cold color palette that can switch things up when the time is right. This is without a doubt the best IDW Sonic story of all time. Okay, last side story, starring Tails in his own 30th anniversary special. Flynn delivers us a new adventure with Sonic and Tails on Flicky Island. However, things are way too quiet. No flickies, random meth crystals, and rails all around. What even talking about here, Sonic? These three goobers are getting the flickies high, and so does Sonic, who gets kidnapped by MF Doom? Of course. This would have anyone absolutely scared, and Tails is no exception, so he teams up with the KFC menu to rescue the birds, stop MF Doom's group of hooligans, and save Sonic before he ODs on meth. Tails ventures through various zones and grabs parts left and right from MF Doom's homies. After defeating Bugs Bunny over here, Tails finally gives himself some firepower and duels with the villain himself in Panic Puppet Zone. Sonic is freed, but he gives Tails a chance to be the hero of the day, using the crystal powers against MF Doom and turning him into a big meth crystal. Tails' birthday bonanza is a fun, action-packed adventure with my favorite rapper. It's always a treat seeing a character other than Sonic take the center stage. While it does feel a lot more like a video game, and Tails getting over his insecurities has been a story told multiple times, the presentation and the silly dialogue from MF Doom made this stand out. Not better than the previous 30th anniversary special, but a good issue nonetheless. Back in the main series, Sonic and Tails pull up to take Surge down. Whisper gives Sonic a wisp, but Surge is just too powerful. Tails has an idea and leads Sonic into a local Home Depot. With the help of some Looney Tunes odd traps, Tails wires Surge to a bunch of washing machines. Kit finally shows up, only to find out that Sonic supposedly lied to him, bringing her back to Starline's old base. Sonic and Tails promise to get Whisper's wisp back. Eggman and Metal are on their way to find the missing Dynamo Cage, and Surge and Kit have a plan to take down Sonic and Tails. Surge gets more horsepower at Starline's base. Sonic and Tails get jumped by Metal, and Eggman gets jumped by Surge. Eggman can't handle the average Memphis resident and teams up with Sonic and Tails to stop her. They look through some of Starline's plans and find out Surge and Kit's backstory. Sonic just wants to talk, but they're here to fight, causing a brawl. Surge causes the place to flood with water. Everyone is practically out of the picture, with Metal down and the two foxes staying on the sidelines. Sonic tries to force Surge to be free once again, going against his pre-established mindset of respecting people's choices because they don't align with his ultimatum. Surge decides to hit Sonic with the electric chair special, exclaiming that she doesn't have any sort of freedom, not while he's still alive. Which, if we're really going to be looking at the Hedgehog's track record, she's kinda not wrong. Allowing villains to live on tormenting people on the daily and restricting said freedom to characters who literally show up to pose no harm really makes you think if this is the guy you want parading around the ideas of freedom. Kit tags in to take Surge away and bury everyone in Starline's base. They all escape, even Eggman somehow, and that's it. What the hell happened with this story? For starters, Surge went from going toe-to-toe with Sonic to stumbling over bolts and almost blowing up. She doesn't pose a threat nor a challenge to the heroes, even with all those powers. Sonic practically has no idea how to talk to his rivals, not letting her change out of their own volition or his influence, just point blank, be free. The post-50 Surge saga ultimately fails in creating a proper original rival that could challenge Sonic. The titular blue porcupine himself practically has no remorse for the homie up until the very end, which could even be put into question with his last words, ultimately leaving us with a mishandled and directionless villain who went out on a whimper. "2022 was a strange year to end things off with, simultaneously giving us one of the best stories of all time and one of the most aggravating stories of all time, delivering us with a banger set of rivals who felt like they served their purpose, but somehow got an unnecessary extended second part that butchered them till Kingdom Come, with the cherry on top being a confusing hero who compromises his unnecessary code for the sake of the plot's demands.